Alright, y'all, so the highly requested Android 17 guide is going to be coming out today, as I'm literally recording it for this video, right? I hope you guys do enjoy it. I had a lot of people ask me about Android 17, and I will be pushing out a lot of guides over the next week just because we're kind of waiting for Go Tanks to come out in a week from now. There's not too much that came out this week in terms of updates. They said that they fixed the error 0 netcode, so like error where you're kicked out of the match and no one can join in for 15 minutes. Hopefully that is the case, but let's hop right into things. 17 is a very unique character, and I absolutely love playing technicals, so hope you all do enjoy, and let's hop right in. Alright, so the first thing to talk about with Android 17 is his passive skill. This is what this character is kind of built around, and we'll see when we cover his skills. There are a lot of different things that you gain from using this passive skill, essentially. So you have a little bar under your health bar, and that is an extra energy bar, as it's called. You could use energy to reactivate your skills. So once you use your skill and it's on cooldown, you're able to use it a second time if you have your energy bar filled all the way up to max. Energy used will recover over time, and the more skills that are all cooldown, the faster the energy will actually recover. So we could actually, again, we're going to hop in training mode straight off, and we'll just show you guys real quick here. You see that this bar is fully filled up, and again, it only applies to skills, does not apply to ultimates. So let's just use a skill twice. You see I'm able to use it a second time, and this energy bar over time will fill up. The more skills we have in cooldown, the faster it does fill up. I'm sure you can see that little difference right there. I don't think it's fast enough to where you want to like, oh, I'm gonna spam all my skills just so I can get this up faster. I don't think that's the case. It's not fast enough to where, okay, you want to spam your skills, but it does give you a benefit. And again, you can see right here, it's just a little yellow ring highlighted around, and I'm able to use the skill a second time there. And just to clarify, does not work for ultimates. Ultimates are counted as a super attack. I know sometimes we call it like an ultimate or whatever, but just in case anyone just is curious about that, it does not work for your ultimate. If it did work for your ultimate, that would be actually kind of broken. 17's ultimate is pretty good, I feel like. And yeah, no, I think that's a very cool thing about 17, just having this bar up. And again, you do get extra effects if you use the skill while it's on cooldown. Like you see 17 here has a little like movement speed up ability. We'll talk about that later, but I think 17's skill is just overall a pretty good one. So one thing I do want to mention when it comes to 17's passive is that you cannot use the bar to double Gekishin burst. However, you can reactivate your skill with this. This could be very useful. So we know 17's third skill has a barrier. Being able to use your skills again under this is actually, I think, pretty good. As usually you are not able to use your skills under a God of Destruction turret like this. So I think having that ability could be very useful in pushing characters back, in helping your allies, do extra damage, things like that. Or, like with 17's kind of third skill that does give you a little bit of extra shield. Allowing you to use that when you have this bar up, I think could be super useful for your ally characters. So keep in mind, again, it does not work as like action burst, but you're able to actually use your skills, which is a pretty good thing. I think that, of course, most characters are not able to do this. So 17 having this ability, especially with how much he can help his allies out with these skills, I think is very, very useful. So that is something that you could use to your advantage if you're making smart plays. Like, again, let's say, again, you could just have this already used. Oh, I could still just use it a second time and, restore my allies shield and things like that. So just something I want to point out that is unique to 17 and one other character, which is Trunks, but we'll get to his guide eventually. All right, next we have 17's rush attacks, which arguably could be the best one in the game. Not because it does crazy damage or anything like that, but because it has this effect that cancels enemy transformations that it hits. So it's pretty good in that way, where a lot of times transformations are used as a defensive tool. Once you actually begin the transformation animation, you do gain immune to all, which means that you're unable to be hurt. You do heal, you gain stats. There's a bunch of really useful effects that happen on your side when you transform. 17 is the only character in the game that's able to straight up cancel them, and I will show you guys how it looks like in training mode right now, but it is very obvious and it's very easy to get this off with 17. So just to show y'all real quick here. So I have this Vegeta enemy set to actually damage or attack us, which means that the first thing he'll do is actually transform. You'll see that there's going to be a little right click kind of toggle button under him, and see what there, interrupt the transformation, interrupt it. You can just continue to do this if you're fast enough and you keep hitting him. Again, over time, if he's already transforming with the immune to all barrier around him, you cannot stop it from there. But do keep that in mind that, you know, you're able to actually cancel these transformations, which is a very useful tool. You know, if you're top laning against a Super Saiyan Goku, or, you know, there's so many characters in the game that do actually transform. Just literally looking here, Goku, Vegeta, Kale, Caulifla, Cell, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Cooler, Bojack, like so many characters. I mean, the one thing I would say is that, you know, you're not usually going to be facing a Vegeta, Caulifla, or Cell, because as a technical character or Cooler, you know, none of the tanks, as a technical character, you'll be top laning, and a lot of times you won't really run into these tanks, but if you somehow get that off against a Cell, sucks for that Cell, man, for sure. But you know, against a lot of these attacker characters that do have transformations, or, you know, Super Saiyan Gotenks comes out next week. I believe he's a transformation character too. 17 will have this ability. From my understanding, this does not work against Kale, because Kale does gain an ability instantly called No Obstruction. So this actually does not allow 17 to cancel out her ultimate with his rush attacks. And again, we'll just show you guys real quickly. We'll have this 17 attack me. I'll just transform. You see he's hitting me while I'm doing it, but I already do have the No Obstruction during it, so he actually can't cancel my ultimate with those rush attacks. Again, that is, I think, an important thing that I do want to point out, just so you guys, you know, oh, why doesn't my 17 rush attacks cancel out Kale's ultimate specifically? Now, there's another way 17 can do this, but we'll talk about it once we get to that section of the video. But 17 is still able to pretty hard counter Kale in that way, so that's actually very interesting. 17 again has a lot of unique tools to his arsenal. Now next we have the barrier ball. This is a kick attack that sends a barrier flying in the target direction. Any enemies that are hit by the attack will have their buff status effect movement speed up converted to a debuff status effect, which it diminishes over time. If reactivated with the infinite energy reactor, the enemy will also receive additional damage based on the amount of debuff status effect applied. At skill 3, the number of barriers will increase. So in terms of, you know, this skill, it is, again, probably the one you do want to focus on. Actually, we'll get to the skill order later on, but this could actually affect someone like Kaioken Goku, for example. Or I say Kaioken Goku as if it's not just Super Saiyan Goku, but for example, Super Saiyan Goku is a character that does gain movement speed up when he uses Kaioken, things like that. 17 is able to take all those buffs and basically turn them into debuffs with his skill 1, which is really, really good. Again, as we see, specifically movement speed up is turned to a debuff status, which is it's a pretty big counter. 17 is all about, like, kind of, I think, countering a lot of the different heroes in the game, which is really nice. Now I wonder if Goku will use his Kaioken specifically or not. That's unfortunately not something I could really control, and I can't really control like which move the enemy uses. I wish that we would be able to do that. I mean, if I set Goku to attack here, I wouldn't really do anything. But again, we see at level 3, it does have the 3 extra kind of blaster balls right there. Now, the differences between level 1 and 2 aren't really too crazy either. Again, just to show you all the difference between all 3 levels right here. Level 1, it's a very, very small range. There's only 1 ball that you kick. I mean, it's just pretty decent overall. At level 2, it does gain extra range, but nothing really too crazy. I mean, a slight, like, kind of boost in that range is really all you get. But again, level 3, gain 3 blaster balls. And, you know, once you start potentially getting snowball stacks or anything with this guy, if you're running that on him, I mean, you can start doing some pretty serious damage by shooting 2 of these out. Really good at securing as well. 17's blaster ball is just a pretty good move overall once you get it to level super, I guess, or level 3. Really, really nice. So again, let's see if we can get Goku to use Kaioken. I mean, there's just a little extra test here, I guess, just for me as well. but in case you guys might want to see it, will Goku use Kaioken at all, or is he just gonna rush attack? I mean, yeah, he only rush attacks, unfortunately. He's not really doing anything where I could, like, debuff him, sadly. Like, there's no potential debuffs, and that's the unfortunate thing about this training mode, that I wish, you know, I'd be able to show that, but he does turn those buffs that the enemy characters have into debuffs, specifically for movement speed. So that's really, really nice. Of course, it will diminish over time, and if you use it with the infinite energy reactor, it will give you additional damage based on how many debuffs they have, which is why 17, you know, is able to do so much damage in certain scenarios where eventually when characters will get the extra buffs and things like that, you'll be able to see that on their actual, like, overbar right here. So very important to note. All right, now we have 17 second skill, which is the barrier knuckle. You'll lunge forward in a set direction to pummel enemies with the barrier clad fist. You will apply movement speed down to enemies that are hit. The effect will diminish over time. And if you reactivate the move with the infinite energy reactor, you do actually provide a stagger, which, you know, staggers are pretty good in this game. Still, I think this is 17's worst skill in his arsenal. We'll talk about it, but the range is very low. It's not really too crazy when you use it in game, unless you do use the infinite energy reactor. It's kind of a whatever thing. And again, in my personal opinion, the other two skills are more worth using the actual passive skill to reactivate your skills a second time. So do keep that in mind. Again, we'll hop right into training mode and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. All right, just to show you all the different, like, kind of differences between level 1 and 2 and 3. Doesn't really feel like there's many. Again, here's the level 1 skill radius. Again, we hit Vegeta once and hit him twice. We do apply a movement speed down a debuff. I mean, again, it could be pretty decent overall, but it's nothing really too crazy. It does diminish over time. I mean, we'll take movement speed down for sure. Then we can go ahead and see level 2. The radius doesn't increase at all. I mean, the movement speed debuff does apply. Again, I mean, there's pretty much virtually no difference between level 1 and level 2. Very similar to the blaster ball. Then level 3, it is still pretty much the same thing. I mean, again, it'll do extra damage, but the stagger lasts the same amount of time. The amount of debuffs and movement speed down is pretty much the same. This move literally just has almost no difference between level 1 and level 3. I mean, it doesn't really improve too much at all. So, I mean, definitely interesting. And sometimes I feel like this move doesn't really work properly. Like, again, okay, let me show y'all, because sometimes, like, if we're far enough away, well, it was missing earlier when I was using 17 and kind of using it before this kind of video, but like, okay, well, now it's working, but sometimes it misses in weird ways. Maybe the game was just bugging out earlier, who knows? But for the most part, again, this move, I mean, unless you are like grouping up on someone and you have a huge advantage, then you could use it for the stagger. But outside of that, I don't really see much point in investing into this like that. The biggest thing about this is by far the stagger that I can provide. Now, next we can talk about skill 3, which is the android barrier. It does create a barrier that will protect you and nearby heroes. It will give you and nearby allies extra HP for a period of time. And if you use it a second time with the actual infinite energy reactor, it will apply movement speed up to your allies. It does diminish over time. Keep that in mind. But I think it's a pretty useful tool to have here. And again, we'll go to our ally Super Saiyan Goku, who's, again, very, very low leveled right now. So let's go ahead and, in fact, we'll just increase his health bar. Actually, we don't need to. Yeah, I want to show something. So again, here's skill 3, just at level 1. Doesn't really have the greatest radius, but I think it's pretty good overall. Like, you know, your allies and yourself will usually be grouped together. I think for like a level 1 skill, this is actually pretty good in terms of the overall radius. And again, we will activate it right here, and we'll see Super Saiyan Goku does get a little bit of extra HP right there, is like a shield effect. Then if we activate it a second time with this, we do see that there's movement speed up that will diminish a little bit over time. I found this to be very useful, especially early game when we're going in and, you know, securing the Kai. I do usually get these two skills. You know, we able to secure the Kai here, or if we're in a skirmish that we do like need to rush back if they're being super aggressive, I can use this at 17, and both of us will get the movement speed up, and we'll be able to kind of get out of there very safely, especially again we're in top lane, so it won't take too long to get to our God of Destruction, or worst case scenario behind the little barrier that we have whilst our God of Destruction is still up. So that's pretty cool. We could see we'll get Goku up to an extra level. It's not like a percentage based thing, it is just a flat heal. You see it's the exact same. Now if you use both of them at once, it does actually stack together. Let me actually reduce the cooldown here just so we could see that. You could just double activate it, and then the shield is applied twice, so keep that in mind. If you do use it in succession, this could be again just super helpful to your allies, right, to just be able to use it like that. Now we could see the difference between level 3 or level 1 and level 2. The radius does increase, but besides that, the actual health doesn't really change that you actually do gain. It is the same exact thing. Now we could actually see the difference between 2 and 3. I think that's a pretty big increase, honestly, between 2 and 3. Much bigger than it feels like with 1 and 2. But this is a huge area. And again, if we take a look here, though, the HP, I believe it's a slightly more, if I'm not mistaken. At least it looked like that to me. So, again, it is pretty good, honestly, overall. I really do like this skill, just what it's able to do. But again, I feel like focusing on the skill probably is not a priority, just because I do think that while the extra radius is nice, in many scenarios you won't even necessarily need that. If you're going to use this, you're going to want to be close to your allies regardless. You don't want to be away from them. So the extra radius is not like, you know, oh, I need this. Like in very niche scenarios, maybe you hit an ally like all the way right here where the cursor is, but many situations you know, will have the chance to kind of get closer to them, like maybe with Vanish Step or whatever you want to do. But while it's useful, and I really do like this skill quite a bit, it's probably not something you do need to focus on over like Barrier Ball, which gains the biggest increase to level 3. But again, I mean, we'll go over like how exactly I would personally level this skills with 17. From like level 1 all the way to level 13, just for you guys. But yeah, I do like this skill quite a bit. I think it's pretty cool. All right, and finally we have 17's super attack slash ultimate. It is the counter barrier. So you set up a barrier to protect yourself and ally heroes while it's creating an area explosion. It gives you and nearby ally heroes extra HP, and it will apply no healing to enemies that it does hit. The less total HP you have, the more damage dealt and the more extra HP that will be received. So if you use this when your allies are at a lower HP, it will do extra damage to your enemies, which is cool, right? We'll definitely take that. But giving your allies more extra HP as well is just very, very useful. But the biggest thing about this is that, you know, not only is it hitting your allies, kind of like not causing them to be able to just fly away instantly, but it will apply no healing. So any characters that restore shield, any characters like Kale, you know, her transformation does give her extra kind of shield healing like that. You use this against Kale's transformation, kind of are able to cancel that heal out and get her out of that transformation very, very quickly. Things like that allow the 17 to be able to have a lot of use with this ultimate, right? And that no healing is especially, again, huge against tank characters, I feel like, as well. Just an overall useful tool. We do love this tool. This ultimate's quite good. All right, here we'll show you the differences between level 1, 2, and 3. Again, level 1 just has like a decent radius, same as the rush attack. And again, it will increase a little bit of health here depending on how low the HP is. So we see that much right there is able to increase. And on top of that, it will apply the no healing to enemies, which I will show this off right here. Let's say again, let's attack Vegeta a little bit. Let's get his shield down whilst we're waiting for this to come back. And it does passive damage, but also stops healing. So you see Vegeta's going to start healing right here with his shield, but I stop that. And then I do passive damage. So whilst Vegeta has that effect up, he's not going to be able to restore any shield if he's trying to run away or anything like that. So that's where it could be very huge. Or again, if he uses a move like his skill 3 or skill 1 that do restore shield, he actually can't do that because he has the no healing effect on his kind of character. Same with Kale. Kale does give herself a lot of extra health. That does count towards 17's ultimate. He's able to stop that, and you're able to basically kind of stop Kale from fully getting all the health on her ultimate because it does activate a little over a little period of time, and you're able to stop that halfway through and basically cancel Kale all of her ultimate very quickly, especially with a bunch of characters. But yeah, that's why 17's ultimate could be really good for pushing, especially I think end game. You're able to get team wipes very easily with this ultimate. I'm a huge fan of it. Now, the differences between 1, 2, and 3 again aren't actually really too crazy beside the radius. You know, we see right here the radius is increased, but the amount of health that is given to the characters do roughly stay the same. It is dependent on the HP level rather than the actual skill level itself. We see level 3, very huge. I think this covers such a huge amount of the map. I mean, if we compare this to skill 3 level 3, it is a pretty decent sized difference. Nothing really too crazy, but we definitely, like from skill 3 to the ultimate specifically, but man, this is like such a wide area to cover here. But again, it does give the same amount of HP. It will do the same time, or I say do, it will give the same amount of time that the no healing is dealt to the enemy as well. It does last a little bit after the ultimate, but it is just only like 1 or 2 seconds after the fact, but still. 17's ultimate is very, very good. I'm a huge fan of it. They're just not really, again, that much of a difference between, having it level 1 and 3 besides that radius, which is very, very important to be able to land that on as many enemies as possible. But if you're fighting your enemies, unless you're fighting like a Piccolo or something, you're not going to be that far away to where all you need the radius. Absolutely 100%. It will matter in some situations, but by the end of the fight, you'll likely have this fully up anyway, so pretty good. Now in this segment, we'll talk about the order you should level skills in. As a basic recommendation, I would do skill 1 as your focus, then skill 3, then ultimate, then skill 2 is kind of what I would do for that order. And again, like I said, I think the ultimate could be very useful. It's just that it's not something that you're going to see too often, and I think skill 3 is something you'll see way more often too, where you would want to prioritize it over the ult. I could see someone prioritizing the ult over skill 3, but again, we'll go level by level and show you what I do personally in my matches at 17. So starting off again, we get level 2, very simple. I would just go for the blaster right here. This is just a very safe, secure. You could stand a decent amount far back and potentially snipe the Kai, especially since we have the double kind of shot for that. So you're able to actually pretty safely get the Kai with 17 if you have to. Ideally, your attacker will secure it, but this could be a very good way to make sure you're able to get that secure for it. Now next, we get to level 3. I do go ahead and get the Android Barrier. Android Barrier, you know, you could theoretically go for level 2 and skill 1. I just would highly advise against that, honestly. I think this could be super useful, especially if you do potentially need to escape. You're able to double activate this, give you the double shield and the movement speed up. I found it to be very useful both as the attacker in top lane and as 17, you know, helping myself or my ally kind of escape in a situation where it comes out of nowhere, man, tries to just like get you jumped, man. This helps you get out of the way, right? So very useful there. And next we have level 4. You do have the option to go skill 2, but again, I would just go skill 1 yet again. At level 5, I would just straight up activate the ultimate, just at least have 1 for your ultimate for now. We go ahead and go to skill level, or just level 6 in general. I would again go right into the Android Barrier. Now at 7, you do have the option of upgrading this, but I would actually save this and just not even activate this in general. And the reason why is because you go ahead and go to level 8, you're actually able to basically get both of these to level 3. So again, let's say I activate this right here, then I could activate this, and I could just completely skip over this second skill. If you want to get all 3 skills, you definitely can, but I much would rather prioritize getting these skills up to level 3 before even caring about skill 2 at all. That's just me. There's something that actually I didn't even know you could do this until the other day when a friend of mine told me. I was like, oh, I kind of just like pick the skill. I mean, it could be useful to have the stagger. I just don't really see many situations where I would use it compared to especially having this ability. Again, very, very huge. Next, again, we go to level 9. I would just prioritize ultimate. Level 10, you actually finally have to get this level 10. Level 11, you get the final upgrade on your ultimates. And then from here, you will just upgrade, again, Barrier Knuckle if you really have to. But again, like I said, the difference between level 1 and level 3 is not really a big difference with the Barrier Knuckle. But everything else, again, you get such a huge amount of radius with these two. And this, you get 3 different kicks. So again, that's what I would do with 17 when you're actually in a match. Just make sure you're able to focus on these 3 over skill 2 for sure. And 1, 3, ult 2, right? If that makes sense. So that's my recommendation. Now for the divine card draw, I think that there are a bunch of different options you can go for 17. Snowball actually could allow 17 to do some pretty significant damage over time. I mean, I'll show you guys. Here's, in fact, let's just get, no, let's keep Vegeta at level 1. So here's Snowball, just like 0 stacks with 17 right here. It does about, 16, 18, 17, 80. We see that. We'll get to Snowball stack level 2 with 17 and show you the difference. All right, we have 2 snowball stacks here again, just to show a little difference in the damage. You see it does about an extra 200 damage there. And we'll get the final snowball stack here just so you guys could actually see that. Again, now 17 starts doing some pretty disgusting damage overall. Now with a full 4 stacks of snowballs, we're able to do some pretty kind of crazy thing again. Let's get Vegeta all the way up to max level. Especially again, we consider, let's say, let's stagger, let's use the ultimate, and then let's just use this. Look how much damage I'm already able to do Vegeta here. And that's without the extra bar available because I use this Barrier Knuckle right there. But, if I didn't use the Barrier Knuckle, we might even be able to get some extra damage in there compared to usual. Let's wait for the ultimate to come back, and we have this extra bar. So let's say again, I'm just attacking Vegeta. I decided to use my ultimate, and we do this, and then that, and you see we would even do a little more damage right there. Look how much damage we do to this Vegeta just with 17 alone. 4 snowball stacks. I mean, this move actually could do quite a significant amount of damage. It has really good range. It's able to hit pretty far. Like to a tank, for a technical character, I definitely will pick that, right? So the amount of damage that 17 could do is pretty cool with the barrier ball, but also not only did I find this useful for like sniping enemies who are running away, I do find it useful for securing like even Jacko or Brienne like later on in fights, right? 17 is also really good at being able to get away of situations because of this. Even this can be used as a little evasive maneuver. With all that being said, 17 is able to hold his snowball stacks pretty safely, so I could easily see someone say, oh, I think snowball stacks are the best option for this guy in terms of level 1. Of course, I think Gekishin High is always a good choice for characters like this. I mean, with Gekishin High, you could essentially, again, if you land a successful Gekishin burst, you will have the cooldown time for the skill back. So you could basically, let's say, use skill 3, you get Gekishin High, then you just spam this skill or even the blaster ball, whatever your skill you're using, and then this will come back again very quickly. And in fact, let me just show you guys. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here. So let's say, again, Zeto's coming up. I will use my 3rd skill to max Gekishin Burst. And by landing a successful max Gekishin Burst, it does have the cooldown time. So you see right here, it is going to come back very quickly. We can go ahead and use this now. And then now, again, the skill is going to come back twice as fast. So we're able to kind of utilize using the 3rd skill here. And it's going to come back even faster than before, but we're still able to kind of use it during its cooldown. So that's where like Gekishin Burst, I think, I think this Gekishin High in general is a good card. And 17 being able to use his skills under the towers is where, this guy has a slight advantage, I think, in that way, especially with this barrier. But that's just something I just felt like showing rather than talking about, especially, when it comes to this game. And I mean, besides that, you could go a build up, you know, I guess if you want to go strategic escape. I just don't. I feel like these two cards would be what I would personally choose with 17. And a lot of times I actually do go snowball. Then at the end of fights, I just switch over to Gekishin High if I do lose my snowball stacks. That's kind of like the play I personally make here. Now, when it comes to the second card, I pretty much always go barrier. If you want to go a triple blue setup, you could, but 17 doesn't really have to worry too much about escaping and things like that. I do think, you know, you get obstructed by an enemy hero, you will get this ability to boost your movement speed and reduce your vanishing step. This can help 17 escape a decent amount, honestly. And I actually do like this card more than others personally. I think it's certain situations that you'll be able to use it, but I think it definitely can help. Then of course right here we see solid barrier is pretty much what I would go 9 out of 10 times though. This is a more consistent way of allowing yourself to escape. Again, if you don't take damage from enemy heroes for 10 seconds, you will get a barrier. It is a huge amount of damage reduction you get from this barrier. Still skin. 17 doesn't have much health like a tank in the first place, so I actually do prefer this, honestly. And with 17, again, you're not rushing it to attack enemies anyways, but even in general in this game, you want to avoid confrontations as much as possible. So you could really utilize this when it comes to someone trying to snipe you, like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, IT Kamehameha. This could really save your ass, right? I would just always go solid barrier. I don't really think that there's another card that would really like allow 17 to utilize it well besides maybe Art of Decoy, right? But I actually do like this. Then for the final card, I think there are two ones that I would choose. It would be the defense step, which again is also pretty good, but I do like going for the double vanishing step for characters most times. You do have backstab, but I don't really think it's gonna be a too common occurrence for 17. You do utilize this. I just think it's a decent card overall. Being able to again shorten cooldown time for skills always is really nice. 17, I don't really feel benefit from these two at all. Guardian Angel, you don't like want 17 to take more damage, honestly. Like he's not the type of character to do that. So between these two, but I would say, you know, when we're running like this, having a rainbow setup, I do like just having a rainbow setup in general, having benefit from each of these cards. We get the attack up, the defense up, and then the skill cooldown like reduction right there from having a blue card. Or is it movement speed actually? I don't remember the top of my head. I believe, in fact, we can actually take a look here. Yeah, increases the power of all allies and all attacks and all defenses by a tiny amount, shorten skill cooldown. It is skill cooldown, that's what I thought. Yeah. So again, double vanish. I really like double vanish. Just being able to use it twice when it's in cooldown after a period of time. It's just really nice. Really good tool to have right there. So there we go. But that's what I would go for the divine cards in 17 personally. I think there's some, like, the thing I like about divine cards is that depending on the situation, you can go for different cards. So if you get like an early tower lead and you're like, oh, I can kill this tower, like just like straight off at the start of the game, which can happen sometimes, you can just say, hey, I'm actually going to go for Gekishin High instead of Snowball. Let's make sure we secure this tower. It's killed. Huge advantage at the start of the game. You know, if your enemies are low HP and you're like, hey, we can get these 2 KOs, you know, let me just grab my Snowball real quick and we'll finish them off, right? You know, it's situation. But I would say those are the cards that I would personally choose for 17, and that's what I do always run on him. All right, and like always, I do show an online match example of, you know, a good match I had with 17. This one was a solo queue match, funny enough, and so, like, even though it was like superstar and skill level 1 damage up, very helpful for 17, of course, I do also think that this is kind of balanced out by the fact that it was solo queue, so it couldn't directly communicate with who I was laning with, but this still does show that 17's able to not only hold his own, but help teammates out in situations where you're able to kind of see that, right? And even with 17, you know, Kale, I feel like is a character that usually, like, sometimes you might want to go bottom with Kale just because she can get sniped pretty easily early on, doesn't have a lot of movement speed. 17 does provide the movement speed up though, and the extra shield, so Kale's able to escape from dangerous situations with 17 because of that, which is, you know, a situation where you might want to go top with Kale. And it's funny just saying that. It's okay. anyways, let's move on from that. So again, the match is beginning. We could probably just skip through the little beginning right here. And now, again, we go top lane here. I do grab skill 1 instantly. Again, skill 1 is the one that gets the best boost at level super, right? You know, so we just wanted to get that out of the way. On top of that, skill 1 damage is boosted here, so we're gonna get a pretty good amount of extra damage. And again, we're just continuing to farm the mobs right here, save my infinite energy reactor. Now, we did not get level 3, unfortunately, so I'm like, hey, let's just make sure we get this guy so I can get my level 3 first. Of course, we do get the first hit right here, which is pretty good, and decided to move Zeno again to our side. So not only are we just like absolutely killing it here, I secure the Kai, secure a first kill with 17, and again, that's why that blaster ball is so good. Then I'm like, hey, let me get my snowball, let's just heal real quick, play it a little safe. I saw Kale was getting attacked by Trunks here, so I was like, hey, let's make sure we're good. I used the barrier and we're able to escape, which again was a very, very good play. Even though I was at low HP, I was still able to make sure we're able to secure things. I was like, okay, let's just save that farm for later. I see Kale's pushing. I don't want her to push by herself. Trunks is almost dead, so I'm like, let's just try to go for Trunks here, honestly. I thought he was running away, so I was like, okay, we get a skill 17 here. Perfect. W kill, very close right there. So I'm like, yeah, let's go back for sure, especially since Zeno was leaving. A little bit of a risky play. I actually thought Kale would have been continuing to push with me, but she actually just didn't. So I'm like, okay, thanks, Kale. You're a real one for that. I see Trunks there. I'm like, yeah, get away from get away from my farm, buddy. Again, super skilled, like 17, able to apply pressure to that degree is pretty nasty. We get barrier right here, and I wanted to go for Kai, but Kale kept just attacking. So I'm like, hey, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to be the one that secures Kai here. I saw Trunks is around the corner. I was like, yeah, no, you're not gonna get that. So now we have, again, level 2 for both of these skills, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine. Early on, I don't necessarily care about like, oh, I need skill level 3 for like the third skill. It's not the biggest deal at all time. We're on level 6 anyways. So after this, once I hit level 7, I believe, what am I voice cracking there? That's kind of crazy. Let's hit level 7. Not right here, because obviously we won't get enough XP, but when we get the Kai here, that's when we're able to hit level 7. They're going to protect their tower. We push them back pretty well. And now we have that. So I'm like, hey, I wanted to go for 16, but I can't really do that. It has to be Kale that does that, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Bottom lane's getting kind of messed up right now, so that's kind of crazy. I was scared 17 could have killed right there, but they somehow decided, hey, actually, I don't feel like winning, so they like went into 16 right there. So we got a little lucky with being able to secure 16 there. But again, if I was able to communicate with Kale, we would be able to essentially what's the word I keep saying, I'd be like, hey, Kale, let's go for 16, right? But I couldn't do that, so that's the one unfortunate thing. We get level 8 now, so I'm like, hey, we're looking pretty good. Let's get super on skill 3 and then level 2 ultimates. I get the double vanishing step there, and now we'll be looking pretty nicely. Again, bottom lane is getting absolutely demolished on right now, but it's okay. We do make a comeback, of course, because 17 is goated. Trunks is still only level 5, unfortunately, for Trunks right there. So I'm like, we could pretty safely make a push for this tower now for sure. And we're just gonna kind of snipe them and make sure they're taken care of. I haven't used my ultimate just yet. I don't believe I used my ultimate here. I don't know what I was aiming for with that, but I'm like, hey, they're fighting Kale. Let's just go ahead and get this burst off. Trunks doesn't have a lot of range there. And since we had super skill up, and along with skill 1 boosted damage, we're looking good. I was able to snipe 17, get him out of there, get a nice W kill. Trunks was like healing, so I'm like, hey, I know Kale had that burst damage. I probably should have just pushed with Kale still. We might have been able to kill Trunks through the tower, but might as well not even risk it. I guess, to be fair, like, even if we pushed and Trunks came back, we would have still been able to kill him probably, but I think I'd rather play it safe still regardless, especially since, you know, we don't know when Kale was gonna, or not Kale, when Trunks was gonna be able to come back. I see bottom lane is struggling so hard, so I come down to just help get this kill here with Caulifla. That's just how it is. I don't know how Caulifla didn't confirm that kill there, but you know what? I'll take it for sure. we're looking good here. Now I have my full 4 snowball stacks, patting my belly right now, W plays, and I'm like, okay, well, now we really need to make sure that we get Jacko and Ribrianne because they were able to secure Nappa. We have a level advantage still here, so I'm like, let's just go ahead and make a push here. I saw all 3 of them come up. I'm like, let's use my ultimate here. Good time to use it. Unfortunately, could not capitalize there. All 4 of them went up. I have no idea what bottom lane is doing. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Bottom lane, I don't know what's going on there, man. They're just doing their thing. So unfortunately, I did lose all of my snowball stacks, and Kale did die through her ultimates. Just not really a fun time so far. I'm like, hey, Kid Super Saiyan 3 protect there. I saw 2 of them were up there. I'm like, no, probably not. He did hit a little bit of the Kamehameha, so we'll take things there. I see Trunks is low. I'm like, let's focus on Trunks. Let's make sure Trunks is out of here. Able to kill Trunks right now. I'm like, let's just leave 17. Now let's push 17. I didn't think Super Saiyan 3 Goku would get that kill there. But again, do the same thing where, again, that skill is able to just hold him down, but also like have such a huge range. Now, again, this game moves so fast, goodness. Jacko's right here, so I'm like, we definitely got to secure Jacko. Then I see they're all down there trying to kill Caulifla, so I'm like, you know what, sure, I guess, but let's please get Jacko. Come on, guys, we got to get Jacko, guys, please. Ideally, we can get a triple boss KO, that'd be nice. And then, I don't know what they're doing. They're just moving around, doing whatever. I'm like, okay, sure, man. We definitely get the kill here, though, thanks to Super Saiyan 3 Goku charging up the Kamehameha. So we're looking good. In that aspect, I go up to heal. Then I'm like, okay, after this, we could definitely push bottom tower. I see all of them are down there until Caulifla recalls, and Super Saiyan 3 Goku also does recall. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, I guess we can't push bottom tower just yet. Let me get level 11 and protect this top tower potentially. I think what I was thinking at this time. We could have easily pushed that tower, but you know what? It is what it is. So I'm like, hey, let's just make sure that Trunks or, you know, 17 doesn't come up here and just like pushes. It is what it is. I have to stay up here and make sure I do protect this. I see someone right there hiding in the distance, and they all came up for this tower. So let me just ult here, and this is where a good ult with 17 is huge, because again, we see right here, not only did I get this attack off here and stun Caulifla, which again, can this play please? They just all went up here to jump me, bro. That's crazy. I thought we came out of the bush. Like, oh, that's nice of you guys. They're all here. That's crazy. So I get the first hit against Caulifla. Super Saiyan 3 Goku did come up with the IT Kamehameha, which is really huge. Then I'm like, okay, let's ult here. So, now then none of them could heal, especially with Caulifla. I'm hitting them repeatedly, and all that damage is dealt. Really huge. Nearly a full team wipe. We're able to mega push now. They have 20 seconds till they come back and they surrender. So, I mean, we were going to be able to kill that top tower. We were going to be able to secure that bottom one. And then if we did get Ribrianne, we would have a triple boss KO. So I think things would have gone really well on our end. Of course, your GOAT got the MVP with 17 as well. And again, I think that match really showcases how good 17 could be, and, you know, how much, like, again, 17 does rely on a little bit on his kind of partner in lane to still do really good. I wouldn't say 17 necessarily the greatest with Kale, though. Kale could work fine with 17, though. That's like, if you're gonna go top lane with Kale, 17 is probably your best ally for that, I would argue. Or Gohan. Gohan actually is probably your best ally, actually. But 17 could work well with her too. Looked pretty good, but yeah, that is it for this match with just 17, just like a live example what the general flow I think could go. And even then we were at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I say that, I mean, Kale was cooking Trunks in 17 top lane. I don't know what they were doing, but so yeah, I hope the 17 guide did help you guys with kind of figuring out how 17 may work. Hope you guys are able to use them pretty well. Let me know if I missed anything or if you think anything should be added to these guides in the future. I appreciate y'all for watching, of course, and I'll catch you guys in the next Gekishin Squadra video. Peace out.